Maybe shortly, the 6 principles I always talk about in Tai Chi. Principles of harmony that you will have in every movement of the 36. They all connect to the structure work that we did now this season, and in every movement of Tai Chi, they are here, they are present, and in most movement of other styles also. So this is why I call them 6 principles of harmonic movement. The first one is sinking before stepping. Yeah, this you heard. Before every step, I need first to connect to the ground before I step out. It's not always invisible sinking. Very often it is like an internal sinking. Like in the basic Tai Chi steps, for example, I don't show every time sinking step, or here sinking step, what we do next season. But it's happening in my body. I'm sinking. I don't change my level, but I have the sinking, and then I step. And then here again, sink, step. Yeah, and this gives me control. This increases my ability to release into the floor with every step. We could also call this principle, every sinking has a rising, every rising has a sinking. It's also about this. Yeah, that whenever movement goes up, I also release into the floor. I'm sinking, and it's usually coming also with steps. And the other way around as well. Yeah, so this is also very much linked to that. So this is the first principle. Maybe we could call it sinking. The second principle is turning and shifting. Turning before shifting, and sometimes it's also shifting before turning. Yeah, and this is also connected to that I never turn my knee when there's weight on the foot. I always first shift, then I turn. Shift, turn. Yeah, so always we use this in all the movement. Also today we did it, right? I told you, turn, shift, follow, yeah, it's also turning, and then again, open, shift, and follow. So I always turn my foot when there is no weight on it. Otherwise I create friction in all my joints on the lower body. And it will also create that you move unharmonic. If I don't follow this principle, I will do things like I didn't shift it yet forward, and I'm turning my foot. And this is creating friction and me stucking on the floor. Yeah? Kind of movement. And this is then also taking the harmony out. So these 2 principles are very important to create smooth movement. If I don't sink before I step, I will fall into steps. This will interrupt my flow. And if I don't manage good my weight shift and my turning movements, it will also interrupt my flow. Many beginners do this if they don't know this yet, and then they sometimes forget to turn the foot, or they turn it with weight, and this makes the movement interrupted. Yeah, so these are very important 2 principles for the lower body mainly. Then we have guiding center. Every movement starts from the center. This is, I think, clear. Yeah? We talked in the season a lot about it. Every movement starts here, and then the center is spreading the movement into all the body. So in the end, also the sinking and the turning of the foot is a result of my center pulling the foot. My center sends the weight into the earth. Yeah? This is the third one. Then perfect circles, or endless roundness, is that we always have round structures. We never go into collapsed structures fully, because this is explained today also. Yeah, it's not good for the energetical work. We close our joints, and at the same time also for application, it's not very efficient. Then we see what is missing still. I mean, the last one is a missing one now. The last one is alive hands. That my hands have to be also part of the movement. Well, this was a big topic for today, and one is missing. Chain movement, yeah. Yeah, it's circular pushing. One time I called it also a principle, but I changed it because it's part of the center movement, that my center is always guiding, and that I have this circular structures. So it's a combination of different principles. But yeah, every push that we do in Tai Chi is circular through these principles that we do. Yeah, there's never a linear push in the style we do. In other styles maybe, yeah, but in our style, because we use the center, because we always look for round structures, but also round movement, yeah, perfect endless circle is not just about round structures, but also about that every movement is in a circular way. Creates also that the pushes are always circular. And this is very important because if I push straight, I always push force versus force. If I push circular, I can take energy and give it back. Yeah, this has something to do with this. And then the last one is chain movement. Yeah, that every movement in Tai Chi is a result of the delay of the center to the periphery and creates chain movements through that. Yeah. So you see, in the end, they're all connected in a way. They're all combinations of each other in the end. Yeah. But these are the 6 I like to point out because it helps to understand certain things. How to use the lower body, how to not fall into steps, how to what to look at, how to make movements more connected, more smooth to the chain movement. Yeah? And if you look at all the movements that we do in the 36, they all have this. If one of this is missing, you know there's something not right. And I'm convinced if I would tell you these 6 principles and you would understand them, I would not need to correct much of your outer shape, you know. I wouldn't correct the arm here, you know. I wouldn't correct much. Small things, yeah. But most of the things are corrected if you follow these principles. If you do the chain movement, it's changing a lot how you move the arm, yeah. If you move from the center, if you sink before stepping, it's directly putting your body in certain shapes that prevent you from doing many mistakes. I mean, today was a good example with the elbows, right? That I told you, when you follow this now, you will not do many of the main mistakes anymore, suddenly. Okay, good. Yeah, so this 6th principle, very important to understand for yourself, but also to when you look at someone. It's a very good tool also to look at someone else moving and suddenly you see, wait, living hand is missing. Why it looks so strange, the arm movement? Because the person is doing, sometimes I look at someone and I think, wow, it looks really good, but something is really strange. And then you can go through the principles and you see, the hands, they are missing, yeah? Or you see like it is something is the person is always stucking in the movement or is interrupting the rhythm very much, yeah? Like suddenly it's always doing this because they don't follow the thinking before stepping principle. This is why they always jump and fall into the next movement and change the rhythm way too fast of the form, yeah? So it helps a lot to look at the form and see if everything is there or not. The way I teach it, yes. Yeah, there are other people teaching it differently, but the way I teach it is important to always keep the same speed, or not completely the same speed, but this like, I call it slow and super slow. Yeah? So in the in-between I move slow, and in the end positions I get super slow. I never stop the movement, but I always keep this rhythm of showing the end positions by becoming very slow and then going back to slow, staying in the same rhythm. Why it's for me important to walk this form like this? Because it is, in my opinion, the best way you can check these principles, if you have them or not. If I change the rhythm very fast, as I said before with the falling, you can just fake that you have the control. Yeah? Maybe it's not wrong to do it in the form, but it's much harder to actually double check for yourself while moving if you do the things or not. If you're cultivating certain qualities that Tai Chi brings to us, the 36 Tai Chi or not. And then we have other forms where we change the rhythm very fast. Yeah? So this is also the point that the 36 brings one thing to us, and this is this constant movement, this constancy in movement, never to stop. Also this is much easier to see when you move slow and in one rhythm. If you move fast, and it's very hard to see if you're still moving or not. But in other forms you need that skill then when you move fast. And this is why we cultivate this in the most simple frame possible, and this is this, moving slow, careful, always in the same speed. This is why we say the 36 like an elephant, bringing this calmness, this fullness, yeah, full. connection to the earth. Yeah? The question was, is it more important to be more connected to the breath or to move very slow? Yeah? More connected with the breath means the movement connected with the breath, right? Slow. Because what I did in the beginning, when I learned Tai Chi, I started to connect it because I learned it's always connected. Yeah? And in my old style, if you don't do this, it's bad Tai Chi, kind of. But it made me suddenly breathe slower and slower because I wanted to move slow and in a specific rhythm. And so the movement changed my breathing rhythm. And this is the opposite of what we want in the practice, that our idea of movement is changing how we breathe naturally. Yeah? And then I always felt a lack of breath. I don't have enough breath. So the first important is you feel like you have enough breath, more than enough. Tai Chi should make you more full of breath. And therefore it's, in my opinion, good to breathe as much as you want, to let the breath natural and first cultivate the slow movement. And at a certain point you can connect these two, the right rhythm of the form with the right rhythm of your breath. But there is then very important to move then as fast as the breath want to move, right? Not the other way around. So inhale in the expanding movement, and exhale in the collapsing movement, and I have to move as fast as the breath is moving. And if my breath is moving faster, I need to move faster. But this is very difficult to understand and see the difference in the beginning. And you shouldn't underestimate how fast your movements start to influence the breath and you trying to do Tai Chi slow. Therefore, I say practice it disconnected, and sometimes in a certain point when you feel like really good with the breath, with the form, you can add this as another challenge to combine breath and movement. Yeah. And then the movement will make your breath even more full, ideally. Yeah, and this is also the intention of Tai Chi, that the Tai Chi is the extension of the breathing movement. Our breathing movement is collapsing and expanding and collapsing, and Tai Chi should with the time be just an extension of this natural breathing movement. And this is then also why the rhythm should be defined by the rhythm of the breath of yin and yang. Yeah? That the breath is doing yin and yang and your movement follow yin and yang. But this is very difficult when the breath is still very limited in the body through all the stagnations and tensions we have. It is normal in the beginning, in the first few years. And this is what happened to me, that my body was very close and I tried to breathe deep and slow, and I just didn't get enough oxygen then. Because I tried to force something my body wasn't open enough yet to do. Yeah. And therefore give the breath space, give the breath time, and move slow. It's in my opinion much better for the beginning.